CNN is certainly not my favorite network, but if there's one host who I am always willing to watch, it is Jim Acosta. And we've talked a lot about Jim Acosta lately because he's been doing such a great job, not only shutting up and calling out Trump stooges, but doing something that I wish anchors would do more, which is just kicking them off the air. If they're going to continue to lie, if they won't answer questions, they don't need to be on your program. And that is exactly what Jim Acosta was doing today, shutting down and shutting up a Trump stooge who wanted to continue to push lies about the upcoming election and the 2020 election. And Jim Acosta was just fed up. Again, we need more of this. And so that's why I am so excited to get into this clip. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way, and it means the world to me. Now let's check out this clip of Jim Acosta absolutely tearing into a Trump stooge.
But aren't there people in your party in Georgia, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are already saying that this upcoming election is being stolen? Do you agree with that?
Look, I believe that we have taken tremendous steps to secure the 2024 election. We have a historic number of lawyers working in our election integrity program. We've had great laws passed by our General Assembly, signed into law by Governor Kemp. We've had good rules put forward by our state elections board, some of which are in place, some of which will continue to litigate into next year. But this election is not going to be 2020. This election is going to be, I believe, an orderly election and an election that in the end people can have confidence in. If it's a really close election like 2020, which was the closest election in my lifetime, then we'll deal with those issues after Election Day once we see what the results are and we compile information from our poll watchers.
Here's how former President Donald Trump dealt with the aftermath of the 2020 election. Here is some sound of him speaking with Brad Raffensperger, the Republican Secretary of State, in the days after the 2020 election.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Josh, wasn't it in fact the former president who was trying to pull a fast one in that election?
Absolutely not. What he was talking about in that call were allegations that were made about people that were allowed to vote that should not have been allowed to vote under Georgia law. And again, you know, I'm here to talk about the 2024
Josh,
election.
That's not what happened there.
About the 2020 election.
He said in that soundbite there, Josh, he said he wanted one more vote than what he
I'm not going to let you
needed.
With mischaracterizing what was said on the phone call.
Josh,
what he said on the phone call. Look, I mean, we can.
Why did he say that? Why did he say he wanted one more vote than what he needed?
What he said is that he wanted an investigation into the allegations that he had made about felons voting, about people who had moved out of state voting, about people who had moved out of county.
No, that's not what happened. Let's play it one more time, just in case. Maybe the Zoom is off or something. If we can't control him, let's play the sound one more time. Josh, let's listen to it one more time. Josh, let's listen to it one more time.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Yeah, Josh, why did he say that? I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than what we have because we won the state. In that call, he talks about shredding ballots, removing machinery. That's not what you just said. Please.
Are you going to allow me to answer your question? The answer to your question is he was talking about voters who should not have been allowed to vote in the election. And I understand that's not your view and that's not your opinion.
It has nothing to do with my view, Josh. I'm just reading the transcript.
I think it's important for your
They are shredding ballots, Donald Trump said, in my opinion, based on what I've heard. They are removing machinery and moving it as fast as they can.
I want your viewers to know that I was asked on this program to speak about early voting in Georgia in the 2024 election, about President Trump visiting the state yesterday. And this has been an entirely dishonest move to talk entirely about something that was not even discussed before I came on this program. I know that y'all want to talk about 2020 because you know Trump's going to win this election if we talk about the economy and immigration.
Right, but you, Josh, you have been involved. You have been involved with the state election board. That has been established. We are well within our rights to ask you about that. Let's ask you about if Donald Trump tried to overturn the election last time around, if he comes up short this time around, should he honor the results? If it's, you said just a few moments ago, last time around is the closest election that you've experienced in your lifetime. If it's that close again, he comes up short, should he be calling up the Secretary of State and trying to strong arm the Secretary of State, or just honor it this time around?
Look, I don't think that anyone, and I would say this if it was the Democrats on the short end of the stick, if you're within the margin in Georgia for an automatic recount, asking questions, reasonable questions about the election and making sure that you're able to confirm that the election result is correct, that is part of our law here in Georgia. You are allowed to contest an election. You are allowed to ask for a recount if you're within the margin. Now, frankly, I don't think that's going to happen, because I think what we're seeing in early voting here in Georgia, the incredible turnout in rural counties around this state, the incredible turnout in Republican-dominated areas, Black turnout that is trending more towards midterm levels instead of presidential levels, all suggests that President Trump is heading to a result where he can win with a margin if our voters continue to turn out between now and November 5th at the levels they've been turning out for the first 10 days of early voting.
If he doesn't, will you trust the results this time around and accept them and move on?
Look, I think this is a much more secure election than 2020. We don't have ballot drop boxes scattered randomly all over the state. We don't have election officials.
But Josh, you're making suggestions. You're making suggestions that there was some kind of tomfoolery and shenanigans going on last time around. Your party's own Secretary of State said that was not the case, and that it was a free and fair election, and that it was secure. I'm just saying, Josh, what you're saying is horse crap.
You said something earlier.
It's just horse crap.
You said something earlier. I mean, you can call it whatever you want to.
It just is.
I've lived here for the last 4 years. You haven't. I know what happened down here. You don't. You have an agenda. You brought me on here under false pretenses.
Josh,
you don't want to
that is
talk
not
about
the case.
The producers told me they wanted to
it's
talk
your
about.
party's Secretary of State.
That's important for your viewers to understand. It's important for your viewers to understand that you're interested in constantly pushing a dishonest narrative and using
what is the
people
dishonest
as a foil
narrative?
What is
the dishonest narrative? The election was secure last time around, Josh. You're just lying.
Look,
you're just lying.
You just said the last person on your program talked about how it was a pandemic last time and how different it was last time. It was different. There was an emergency rule passed with our state elections board with almost no notice to legislate into our law ballot drop boxes. There were no instructions given about
Josh,
it. But
your Secretary of State, it was your Secretary of State. I'm just saying it was your.
What the Secretary of State's position is, and I don't agree with the Secretary of State's position that it was fine to scatter ballot drop boxes haphazardly across the state and not give people equal access to the vote. I think that was an incorrect decision. And I'm glad that that's not the law that we have anymore, because our state legislature and Governor Brian Kemp said we need to put some parameters around these ballot drop boxes and absentee voting. And I think that was very wise of them to do that.
To quote Jim Acosta, absolute horse crap. And we need to continue to see that type of call out, not just saying that MAGA is lying, but pointing out the reasons why they're trying to sow doubt about the results of this upcoming election, why they're still casting doubt on the results of the 2020 election. And it is incredibly clear that voters are fed up with this. Of course, why wouldn't they be? They continue to attack our democracy. And of course, we saw that last night in Kamala Harris's CNN town hall. She was asked several questions about Donald Trump's attacks on our democracy. But I thought the most damning result of all of that is what we heard from voters after the town hall in this clip right here.
How many of you, show of hands, will leave tonight planning to support the vice president? 2 have made a final decision. You came in leaning that way?
Pretty much right in the middle.
Okay. Came in
leaning.
Leaning, and now you're decided.
Yes.
Okay. Now, 3 of you have not joined the conversation. I just want to go back to the back row a little bit. So, Pam and Lauren, Pam on my left, Lauren on my right. So you're not leaving here planning to vote for her. Do you leave here any clearer in either direction?
You know, actually, I think if I had to pick right now, I would pick her.
If you had to pick right now,
I would.
But
yes.
Is that you changed your mind since I asked the question a minute ago, or that's where you're more strongly leaning there? Is there what's missing? If there's a missing link to get you to absolutely, what is it?
That's a tough question. I guess a lot of the foreign policy is really my biggest concern, but overall, I think she is a better candidate.
Okay. And you're a registered Republican.
I'm an independent.
You're an independent now.
Yes.
Who'd you vote for in 2020?
I voted for Trump.
You voted for Trump.
Yes.
So if you vote for Harris, in the math, that's a big deal, especially where we live here in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to that as well.
Republican voters have had enough. Not only are they moving from Trump to Kamala Harris, and that is an incredibly important electoral win for Kamala Harris, but it's also showing that she's bringing the country together. This campaign is not about dividing. This campaign is about unifying. And that is why it is so important to continue to see Republicans coalesce behind the Kamala Harris campaign. Of course, Liz Cheney certainly leading that charge. And we need to continue to talk about the Republicans calling Donald Trump out, vote for Kamala Harris, and we're going to every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.